Welcome to another extraordinary day full of surprises, full of excitement, full of buildings. Oh boy. If only young man me could get a glimpse of old man me, we'd be like, what a nerd. Would have ever thought. Fascinating things of this nature. Certainly not I, but I wouldn't change it for the world. You hear that, young me? You keep your judgment to yourself, little cheeky little. In any case, how are you guys? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Yeah. What do we got here? We got churches. We got towers. We got some old world wonders fastly approaching. These are the documents before, precursor to the main event, really, the way that I space them. See interesting things like in floor plan, architectural designs, and then boosh! By God, we've arrived. Here's the part where I tell you what you're looking at, followed by the part where I make commentary. Based on my own suspicions. Based on my own fancy logic and other things like that. I approach this very scientifically. There's no room for hearsay. There's not even room for sarcasm. You hear that, young me? We'll retain it this time. Oh, I forgot the old thumpity thump. What happens when your thing's not bogged down? We'll fix that in post, Jimmy. You shut your mouth. Oh, you gotta put the parentheses around it. Whatever. This is the Colonel Henry Champion House in Colchester, New London County. And usually in Connecticut they're very tight-lipped about these sort of things. They tell you next to nothing. And that's exactly the trend that we're going to continue here. They told me nothing in this survey about it except for the name of it, which I've now told you. And, let's see here. Oh, late 18th century. 2.5 stories. But look at that rooftop balcony. This is a real beauty. I added that part. The survey doesn't really go into too much of that. It actually goes into none of that. What? Alright. This is the, house opposite to the church. Really? That is the name of it. Man, it tells you something about how early this survey was taken. Didn't have time to proper name it. Just called the house opposite the church. This is Preston City. Well, with a name like that, I don't expect much information, and my expectations are correct. 2-story wood, central chimney. Now, guys, remember when you're surveying these homes back then, don't put too much effort into it, you know? Save that energy for the end. You're gonna need it. Here's another viewpoint of the house opposite to the church, and I wonder about the stone foundation here for the yard. Seems a bit different. Oh, look at it. You can even see in there they've got... This isn't just a 2-story. You guys didn't even mailed it in like a freaking window back there. I can see it. Who are these clowns? You can't hide your basement from me, jerky. Even if it's 200 years later, I'll find it. Here's a rare color photo. Someone added years later, after color photography was invented. What insight, huh? That's what you come here for, right? The real hard-hitting, the real deep bits of insight that you couldn't glean yourself. You needed help. You needed someone who devotes all their time to it, to tell you that. I know. Luckily for you, I'm here. But unluckily for you, I'm going on break. What's going on out there? I need to control my household. What? Old Abram Mitchell lived here, that's right. Well, either that or Dr. Ambrose Pratt. The house is named after both of them. As to who they are, I couldn't tell you. What I can tell you is, this house was built for Abram Mitchell by Fenner Bush and Samuel Silliman. And those are facts. So, you deal with them. You absorb them. These even in order. Damn it! Well, no wonder. This bit of overgrown shrubbery. Hi, Avery. It's great to see you. Ben. The Lord of Angry Men. Aside from doubling as a before picture and a good landscaping ad, this is the McEwen house. And as to be expected, there is no information about it, other than it says Kelly, early domesticated architect of Connecticut, although sent by telegram, so it really reads like Kelly, early dom arch of Con. Stratford is the town. Boy, little tightwads with the info around here, aren't they? Westport Sanitarium? I don't like the sound of that. And I say that as a prime candidate for their gentle treatment, no doubt. Were I to be born in that era. You mumbling around with a straitjacket on, talking about you get what I'm saying? They would have shocked my brains. Probably, unless I learned how to hide it very well, like I do from you all. Fix it, Jimmy. I don't care, Jim. Fix it. That's your job. Oh, I'm Jimmy. I can't do my only job. This here is the First Congregational Church of Saugatuck. I will refrain from making a crude rhyme regarding including that name. I'm trying to censor my act a bit. All ages show. This is an all ages show, all right? I'm trying to tell myself. The idea is to get the word out, not to hide behind uncreative four-letter epithet. But you know what I'm really saying when I say things like you, or shut the fuck up, or for fuck's sake. 1830 and, wood. That's the information they gave us. Wow. Jesus, they're really outdoing yourselves this time, guys. Like they just drove by and made these notes. Keep cashing them checks, 1930s surveyors. Can I do this one? Okay, 1830, stone basement. Ah, too many words? Fine. See if I give a frick. Because I do. What do we got here? Oh, I did it wrong, that's why. This is the Wilton Town Hall, 1832 construction. Boy, am I dumb. The architect and builder are not known. It's no longer used for civic purposes. 2 1/2 story. Building with bell tower. This building was erected on property given by Nathan Comstock to the town of Wilton, provided that the building was, of course, used as a town hall and was erected with a cupola. As long as it's got those two things, and Nathan doesn't care. And these provisions were carried out by the townspeople, and the structure was erected. And that's the end of the story. As long as there's a cupola, that seems like a very strange requirement, but, you know, Nathan seems to be like a strange guy, from what little we know of him. I mean, I don't know him at all. I'll only give you money if you invest it into a cupola. Bup, no arguments. You strike a hard bargain, Mr. Nathan. This is the Congregational Church, not the first, but it is the Congregational Church in Wilton. And since it's not the first, there's nothing else to be written about it. Unless you count 1790 as, you know, information. I mean, kind of cool, I guess, to know it's that old, but... Where is it? What's it been doing with its life? Is it, you know, never settled down? Never have kids? You know, I'd like to know more about it. Hey, who's this little chickie D? Go back inside, dear. The grown-ups are taking pictures. This is creatively labeled as house, and in parentheses we have doorways. Wow. I didn't realize that this wing of the tour was conducted by Captain Obvious. I thought we were done with that guy. But yeah, that's it. That's all you get to know. House doorways. Keep it moving. The Simon Belden house, different from the Beldens that was principal Bayside for all them years, and different from the kind of Beldens that we're looking at in these surveys. Kelly Early Dom Arc of Con makes another appearance. That's Early Domestic Architect of Connecticut, in shorthand. And the note here says Robinson-Old New England Doorways. Old New England Doorways. So if you can decipher that, well, then you're smarter than me. And I don't want to hear about it. Jeez. This might be the worst part of this worst survey of all time. And yeah, I do say that every time, Jimmy. Frick off. What we have here is the Jonathan Deming house. Later on, it was changed to Peter. The house was, anyway. Built sometime before 1733. This is the Joseph Webb house. We're told it was built in 1753. We're told it has 2.5 stories like all buildings around here. We're also told it contains exceptionally fine interiors. One room, in fact, has been installed in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. But we're not going to show you those rooms. For that, you have to go pay the fee at the art museum, dummy. Shit ain't free around here. I mean, oops. Things aren't free around here. We'll add a beep in later, Jimmy. It'll be funny. For those of you just joining us, Jimmy's not real. Hold on. You're never going to get a girl. This is the, Captain obviously named Old Warehouse. That's right. It used to be the Fish House, but we settled for an even more boring name. No need to draw attention to ourselves now. And it appears to be, floating, had it not been for this stone foundation. It would indeed be a magic old warehouse, but it's not. He seems a little, bit bummed out by it, doesn't he? He's like, no, why you got to tell everybody, man? Get over it. Bleep you, pal. Thanks for respecting my new no cussing rule. What, do you have a dungeon under there? Sure looks like it. Old warehouse, more like old scare house. I'll be here all week, folks. And I'll see myself out after that one. You'll be dragging me down, you rape dungeon. You old fish house. This is the Lieutenant Walter Filer house. Filer? I hardly know her. And its frame, and its 1 1/2 stories, and its windows are enriched with pediments, we're told. Also, there appear to be some sort of tall, pointy hat-wearing wizards that are just sort of lingering in the curtains there, spying on us. I'm gonna go ahead and keep it moving. Only hex start on me. For that would suck. From what I know of hexes, I learned it from a country song. All my hexes live in Texas and all that stuff. I deserve a good booing for that one. This is the Woods house. You'd think it'd be more grand of a name with the columns like that. My God. Where'd those even come from? 1809, we're told. Basement windows we seize. Impressed we are. And wanting to know more about it, I am. But here in Hartford, why, information it'll cost you. And you done priced yourself out the market. Oh, hello, little one. What on earth can I do for you? Listen, here is the Mallory Tavern out there in Litchfield County. And from the massive data sheet that I've given here, information reads, Tavern. That's it, just tavern. Look like a tavern to me, but, you know, There's the door, behind which we're told you can procure some of the region's finest elixirs. Now, I'm guessing it must have served as a tavern back then, because now it looks a bit more residential. We're only allowed as far as the entrance hall, and then they send us back. So you'll never know what will hide around that corner. This is the Herman House in Canaan, a biblical name there for this city, also in Litchfield County. And of this property, we are also told nothing. Herman House, that's it. A real beauty. Have a doorway. This is the Hunt House, not the Herman House. Get your alliteration correct. And this one we're told 1805. And that is quite old for it to look like to be in such fine condition, although this portion of the survey was taken in the 30s. Look at that old gas station. I like it. Don't be deceived by the title that you read here, Colebrook Store. It is in fact the general store in Colebrook, so there. Also, not a bit of information. Not Nathan. This old boy with them exposed concrete slabs looks like the Captain Ara Phelps Inn. You remember the old Phelps Tavern? Well, now you've got the Phelps Inn. Built in 1773 after the Revolution. Somehow. 2-story wood-hipped roof, and all of this information comes from the Old Inns of Connecticut book, which hopefully offers a bit more information. What I just told. I'm limited by the survey. You know how it goes. Here's the up-close and personal door, which I'm sure you were dying to know the condition of. This one they allow us inside, at least. An old inn, indeed. Wow. Shocking that they would have that lizard logo. Like, where have I ever seen those things? Very unique. And yeah, I'm being facetious. Congregational Church in Cornwall. This is 1845 is a given date. And quick peek in the inside here. Lovely fluted columns and pipe organ. Superb. Interesting. Interesting church. Here first, it's crazy talk. All these phoenixes everywhere. It's almost as if something Phoenician. I just don't know. This is the North Cornwall Church. Not to be confused with the other one. The word north is what sets it apart. Early 19th century, we're told. And a very complicated and interesting cupola, I see, along with these very unnecessary 3 doorways. Now why? Why this design? Why the 3-door? Really? Why? You see it everywhere, and it seems super unnecessary everywhere. Almost as if it's not meant for this. Not meant for any of this. But it's what we use it for. Columns and doors should tell you everything. Or at least something. Or at least hint to something. I don't know. Yeah, you make up your own damn. I've seen enough. This is the Longhouse. We're told in the traditional method of providing little to no information. It's formerly part of the Adelphi Institute, which is next door. Or Adelphi? Perhaps I'm being too fancy with my pronunciations. Adelphi will do, even if it's a butchery of some sort of Greek letterings. Colonel Matthews House, Falls Village, 1735 is the given date here. And there's, just in case you didn't believe me, there's his name right there. It says Colonel Matthews. So there. The Gaylord House, or the Gaylord House. Yeah, I don't know. Your pronunciation depends on your level of juvenile humor. Mine can be through the roof sometimes. 1740, we are told. And that's the extent of what we're told. The Bird's Eye Norton House, 1804. 2-story brick. Inside and chimneys, Palladian windows, the Georgian period, we are told, and really quite a stunner, especially for that era. Beautiful home. Quite impressive for those days. Quite impressive to not have much information about it. I mean, I would think there'd be much more of interest in that. Why, they didn't even tell us about the basement. Oh, shocular. Another one. The Old Academy in West Goshen. Now, currently, as you can see, it's a library. But before, it was the Old Cavalry. Little handwritten note down here. It says, Chamberlain, small house in the sun. So, glean from that what you will. Here we have another example of this old world, unnecessary architecture, which we're told is a bell tower of sorts, often. But to me, it looks like the housing from something that is missing. Maybe a bell, but perhaps something more in this little 4-pronged tower here. Why the unnecessary expense of this, if it was just for decoration? Impossible. Something hung here, or existed here, used. Now it's not. Imagine it tied in with the antenna, and tied in with this whole setup. Perhaps it was some sort of large crystal mounted, some sort of geo-electric thing. I don't know. You use your imagination. But this always to me looks like those bells, those those flame snuffers. Maybe it was more like a lighthouse, provided a beacon of light for the area, beamed out of something, some function. How else could it be? And this is, of course, the 3 doors here. Very unusual, except, by that I mean very common, but very confusing. And right next to it we have the Messenger House, made of white pine, 1783. Oh, that's the address. That's just what the notes read. Choose your own adventure. These houses are pretty incredible, and I wonder, this is an older survey, and they give us no information if any of these are even still standing anymore. I really don't know. I would hope so. But then again, knowing this America, probably not. This is the Roberts House, or just Roberts House, and that's all we know about it. Whether Robert owned it, or the Roberts owned it, or none of that's made clear, or who Robert was, or whether that's his first or last name. This one is called, creatively, House. Captain Obvious is running out of steam in his latter part of the survey. Yep, house in Kent. That's it. This is presumably Gate of House in Kent. Oh no, this one's at least called the Holly House, as featured in the Architect Review 1921. Constructed in 1803 in Lakeville, Connecticut. And that's it. Anything else we must learn from just the photographs, such as door, stairway, interior door, picture of lady, our old friends down here. Interesting. This is a doorway and this one doesn't. Secret doorway. That's where the silver's buried. I'm telling the English. Is our two unique friends dancing about, not revealing their mysteries. Hey, there's our old pal George. Little exterior garage here. Or garage, I'm told. This is the first Congregational Church, of which we've seen lots of these firsts. This one's in Litchfield, and keeping with the trend, we know nothing about it, except 1829. And the usual, completely useless and extraneous fancy cupola up top here. This one wearing a nice dunce cap, because he's been a naughty boy for hundreds of years. Up close, a lot more majestic. I mean, man, columns. Why are they building like this in 1820? What does it all mean? The height of this whole thing, and the three doors, of course. Always a strange mystery. One in every city, and we're sure churches are what they say they're for. Here's where Pastor Greg rains down fire and brimstone 3 times a week, and the same sort of floor plan as all of these little churches, and all their little horns, their little organs. It's just a wonder. Just a real wonder, isn't it? This early era. What the hell happened here? And does anyone even know? Could anyone even know? This is the George King house, not King George. Get it straight. Never name our house after that guy. No. This is the George King. End of the Green, 1799. I don't know what that just all it says. End of the Green. You figure it out. Or you tell me. I'm here to learn. And this survey's a bad place for that. Charles Prindle House in Sharon, or Sharon. Jury's still out on that one. 1812, we're told, as the date given for the initial construction. And yet again, another small town, another small church. All of them looking like they follow the same exact floor plan. This one is also the first Congregational Church in Watertown. We have the tower. Looks like it's missing a piece, maybe. The urns or the prongs up here, the column, the whole damned thing. The whole 3 doors. What is going on here? Why is this so? The similarities are striking. The old Solomon Rockwell house, eh? White Pine, we're told, which I think is the name of actually a magazine or some sort of publication. This was born in 1813. Coach house and privy, and 2-story wood. But I mean, then I'm being honest, because I can clearly see a basement window down there, so it's actually 3 stories, or 2.5 at least. Don't make us do your job for you, survey. We will embarrass you 100 years later. We know what those windows mean. This must be the coach house and privy we've heard so much about. This is the Bronson house, I think. Bronson house, next church fronting on the green. If anyone has any idea what any of that means, feel free to share it with the class. Now we're back at the Charles Prindle house for some reason. Soaking up different views. Interesting door knocker there. Looks good. And from the inside, a top hat. Oh no! One of the watchers has been here. Quickly, hide somewhere. Hey, it's our 2 friends in the fireplace. No time. Ooh, stopping in by the corner cabinet, or you know what they'll do. They're very serious about that here in Connecticut. Even this one's kind of impeded by that. Column doesn't really work. Looks like it's retrofitted. Do you steal this from Northam as well? This fireplace, you're not allowed to look inside. I wonder why. A bit drafty, perhaps, see? There's the old privy again. Must be that. Unless that's the privy. Well, that's your privy, Jennifer. Dinner's at 8. This one's mine. And I know this is a big shocker, but this is a church. St. Paul's Church, to be exact. The same fancy cupola, the same square tower, the same 3 doors. So this one looks like they sealed up the middle one. Built in 1785. Here's the store at the 4 corners in North Woodbury. And that is all you'll ever learn from me about that place for now. And this here is the old State House. No, I'm sorry. This is the Jonathan Warner House. Middlesex Turnpike, Chester. It is allegedly built by Kelly, the only architect I've ever heard of in Connecticut. Don't know who built it? Just say the word Kelly. They claim it's only 2-story, but I have my suspicions on that. And it's definitely an old world stunner. There's George there now, wondering where his wooden teeth went. I just sent them down to the carpenter, dear. They fixed them up and they'll bring them right back, sharp and good as ever. Until then, you'll have to enjoy that cottage cheese. The David Field House, over there in Madison, built in 1719. God damn, that is one old sumbitch. Not too bad considering it's, 300 years old. Looking like it's even older than that, personally. Like it had a stone era, then a wood era, and now it's probably a gone for good era. Colonel Stephen Ford House. Wait. Never mind. Oh, wait. Never mind again. This is the Colonel Stephen Ford House. We are told this was built in 1685. Wow. Architect unknown. 2.5 stories. Stone foundation. It was used as a tavern until 1700, and then as a relay stop of the post between New York and in Boston. It is in its original state of construction, and at the present time, it is in poor condition. The house is owned by Mr. Wilberforce, a direct descendant of Colonel Stephen Ford, who was an officer in the Connecticut State Militia. How about that? Well, I wonder if it's still around today. Doesn't look too bad for being, 350 years old. And whoa-wee wowie, what have we got here? Hello, hello. I've never quite seen it like this. That is an exceptional specimen. Where she's at today. I wonder how she worked. I just wonder. But I doubt she's still inside of this bad boy. Or that bad boy. This is the Benjamin Beach house. At present time, at the time of this writing, which is in the 30s, very poor condition, which we can tell. Of course, they claim that Mr. Kelly, the only architect ever in this area, built this. We are told of the Benjamin Beach house that a number of one-story, or 1.5 stories, which are still standing in the region, they exhibit this treatment. The eaves, these one-room, unpainted house, rough in construction, despite the fine paneling details in the interior. It is well to note in the exterior that each and every board is beaded, which is quite unusual. Benjamin Beach, the son of a Beach, Samuel Beach, the father, was a farmer. He had 3 sons. These 3 sons of Beaches, of them, one of them is Benjamin Jr., who moved to Seymour, became the first pastor of the Congregational Church there, and the Separatists began to hold meetings in this house, and there were but a handful of these Separatists, but still they arrayed themselves with such bitterness against the standing Church of North Haven as to cause considerable annoyance. After the Wallingford parish had disbanded because of the lack of members, Miss Heaton and others revived the old fire, prepared the way for founding the Baptist Church in this village, with Joshua Bradley as their spiritual leader. They met at the home of Jedediah Button and announced their article of faith and covenant and were given the right hand of fellowship. The first Baptist known and identified with the community was Mrs. Benjamin Beach, whose husband preached for a time in Wallingford. This house was purchased by a family named Button from the Beach family, and there lived an invalid woman who was known as Aunt Bobby Button, who lived there for years. And now, even now, in the vicinity of the old home, you may hear it referred to as the old Aunt Bobby Button home. The present owners, Mrs. Anna and Adel Broschiffer, are 2 of the many who refer to it as the Aunt Bobby Button home. It is leased to the Montoise Brick Company. This was in 1939. Strange little bit of disjointed history. Built by Mr. Benjamin Beach. How about that? The Timothy Bishop House is what you are now beholding. Strike that. That's incorrect. This is the Townsend House. 2-story brick covered in stucco and nothing else really. 1840, I guess. I wonder how many of these are still standing today. It'll be interesting when we get to the portion of the Registry of Historic Places in the state, of which we'll get there sometime eventually. It'll be interesting to see what's still standing around here. Until then, we'll have to settle for things like this. The United Church on Elm and Temple Streets. United in the way that they have, the dome, the cupola, the rounded colonnade, the four-pronged tower, the columns, the 3 doors, everything you come to expect from a building of this stature. And why? Why? What are they for? Oh, tell me. Built 1815 by David Hoadley. I forgot about old David Hoadley. Still floating around here getting credit for stuff, eh? Of this one, we're actually told a decent amount of information. The United Church being a union of what once were 3 independent churches, the Whitehaven Church, the Fairhaven Church, and the Third Congregational Church. So, early in 1813, the Ecclesiastical Society of the First Church pulled down their church edifice for the purpose of erecting a better one, and this one is finished in 1814, and that's what you're looking at right now. 20 members united to build a brick church on the green, of such dimension and structure as should be satisfactory to a special building committee, and match every other church in the region. I said, 1/8 of the pews should be preserved for the society, and the remaining 7/8 sold to meet the cost of construction with interest. Selling all the pews? Well, then where will they sit? One of the contractors was Ebenezer Johnson, a man with taste. David Hoadley, the architect and builder, took the contract for the erection of the church, and proceeding on the lines indicated by Mr. Johnson, gave it the final form. All the details of the steeple were probably of his creation. One of the best examples of American ecclesiastical architecture in the early 19th century. Oh, the original cost of the church was a little under $33,000. How about that? What a unique number. They sold their pews, the contractors, for enough to pay for this sum and leave a surplus of $5,500. The lumber used was bought in Middleton, and although the War of 1812 was then raging, brought here by water, through the courtesy of Commodore Hardy, then commanding the British blockading squadron on our coast, who, when his permission was asked, replied that he made no war with religion. The church had 3 glass chandeliers of French make hung over the main aisle. 2 of them were sold, 1 remains, and they claim the original color, the coloring of the pulpit cushions, was the skirt of a wedding dress made from a red silk curtain, due to the war shutting off importations from Europe. So wood can get through, but definitely no red cloth. We don't know what you're going to do with that cloth. New church had a chimney, but no stoves put in, till 1820.
1927. It was thought that the heat would be intolerable. One lady, according to tradition, on the first Sunday after the vote to introduce stove, felt so overcome by the new kind of warmth she was carried out of the church in a fainting condition. Although they had not been connected with the chimney and no fire had even been kindled in them, she fainted at the sight of a furnace. I can relate. In 1850, gas was introduced, the church was painted, and the galleries lowered. An organ was put in 1818, replaced by a better one in 1850, and a still better one in 1867. Sidney Mason Stone designed the apse in which the pulpit stands in 1850, and Reverend Samuel Dutton, not Button, who was opposed to slavery, concealed fugitive slaves in his house and helped them escape to Canada. In his church was held the Kansas Rifle Meeting, when 80 men about to leave to help save Kansas from slavery were pledged 27 rifles from the pulpit. In the meeting presided by Henry Beecher. All the furniture was pilfered from the demolished third church. A very weird history. Now was this one. Now how about this one? This looks identical. Maybe it's the remix? It is the remix. Look at this monstrosity. God damn. Ah, and of course, this is the Connecticut Hall in Yale University. South Middle. Well, this is what we're told here about this hall. The South Middle. It's the oldest of the college buildings now standing, at least as of 1937, has a picture of the times to deserve reproduction here. The following, well, it says the story of its erection is sufficiently curious. I'm going to bite my tongue at this point. The following is taken from the record of a meeting of the corporation held April 6, 1748, and it was allegedly dictated in this tone, or so I'm told. Whereas by reason of the increase of the number of students in this college of late years, the present college house is not large enough to entertain one half, and there's a necessity of a new college house for that. Whereas upon representation thereof made by President of the General Assembly and colonial for that purpose. In any case, they raised money, weird monies too. 5,400 pounds in the bills of old tenors, 5,200 pounds delivered in 1810 Spanish pieces of 8, whatever that means. I imagine it's currency. New college house should be built with brick of 105 feet in length. Damn it, 3 stories high. That's right, with a cellar into the whole house. Yeah, and it better be set near the north end of the college yard. Yeah, these are some of the demands that were made. And 4 years later, something, money changed hands, and they called it Connecticut Hall. And the presidents and the fellows walked into the house and made the following declaration. Whereas, through the favor of divine providence, this new college house has been built by the munificence of the colony of Connecticut in perpetual commemoration of so great generosity, this neat and decent building shall be called Connecticut Hall. A lot of pomp and circumstance for such a boring name. The best building in the colony. It was some time before the interior was completed, and students were allowed to finish and occupy rooms, and greeting corporation reimbursement after some time for the money expended, blah, blah, blah. For 40 years, the building appears to have remained without much change, but on July 15th, 1796, it was voted to effectuate repairs. On September 14th, they raised it another story. That's right, they removed the roof, they raised the story, and they put a different roof on. Neither steam pipes, coals, nor stoves were known, and gas was not introduced until 100 years after the erection of Connecticut Hall. Outstanding among these men graduating from Yale College, and also consider this historical value, whatever. Eli Whitney, Jeremiah Mason of Kent, the famous jurist. Of course, it takes so much to be in the jury. Nathan Hale, of course, the patriot and spy of the Revolution. Theodore Woolsey, the president of Yale, and the valedictorian. Of course, he went to Yale. That's not related. Can you believe it? Someone went to Yale, graduated, and went on to become the president of Yale? Lawyer and judge of the Supreme Court, Mr. Freddie Ward. Yep, that's a good one. Another president of Yale College. It's allegedly 227,545 bricks, 14,155 shingles, 124 window frames, and 458 loads of stone. Can you believe they counted all bricks? And all this for just $16,000. You too can get yourself a Connecticut Hall and make up your own myth and legend. And just look at her. She's a real... That was it, huh? She's gone already. Wow. What the fuck? Don't you want to hang around and have dessert? Whatever, man. You're fucking... whatever you want. Look at the castle next door. Just look at it. Yeah, right, it's our castle, governor. We don't have those here. I don't know if he's talking like that. By Strawman. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. What a whole lot of brouhaha for new haha. You know what I mean? Like nothing. Speaking of New Ha, let's go to New Haven over here. And what we are blessed with here is the Chandler Bacon House. That's correct. The Chandler Bacon House. There is a hyphen. And the owner is Mr. Henry Sargent. And the date of erection is 1760, and the architect is Joshua Chandler. 2.5 stories. Standing in Church Street in New Haven, in the shadow of this new Southern New England Telephone Company building, is the Bacon House, or it is sometimes called the New Haven Coffee House. It's not the original site for this historic old inn. No. It was moved here in 1820, having originally stood at this corner of 4th and Shore. Wow, the post office now stands. Post office out, this building in. Strike that, reverse it. This old tavern, which holds many an interesting tale of the gala New Haven of old, was originally the residence of Joshua Chandler, a lawyer, a graduate of Yale, of course, and a staunch Tory sympathizer. After the house had been around for 19 years, on July 6, after the British invasion of the city, Joshua Chandler and his family left with the British and said, "Hugh, we're going to England." They were shipwrecked, however, on the coast of Nova Scotia and perished trying to find their way to civilization. We were told that they were probably eaten while they were still alive by the Native Americans who mistook them for snow monkeys. The old tavern, which, the estate here in New Haven was therefore confiscated. If they never showed back up, that's a likely story. Placed to probate, with announcements being daily made in the local journal advertising creditors to file their claim. 11 months later, the house and property, having been purchased by Jabez Smith, was advertised as being open to the public as a coffee house, this appellation having just become popular in the 1700s. The place from which the stage would take its scheduled departure. That's what they advertised. But the coffee house was the mecca for all the barristers and court figures. And many an important court case was discussed comfortably over a cup of ale in this, which is probably the most popular establishment in the town at the time. What the a coffee house? What are they even talking about? Having ale and all this? Which is it, a bar or not? Then the house was moved further north on the street, where it became the home of Reverend Dr. Lenny Bacon, one of the most influential pastors the church has ever had, and he wielded great influence over the entire nation, as well as his own particular parish. How's that possible? During his entire life, he wrote profusely, especially on the slavery issue. He sounds like a deep state creation. Dr. Bacon, with a name like that. There's doubt as to whether this house will be raised or removed to a new location, but many of the mantles have been removed and sold to appreciative buyers, and it seems like it's being pieced apart and, sold off to the highest bidder. And that was in 1937, so there's no frickin' way that it's still around. Unless some Superman rolled in and saved her. I find that to be highly unlikely. Oh god, I forgot I was even looking at this one. I don't even know what you guys have been watching that whole time. Man, sorry about that. I really don't know what you were even looking at. We'll leave it, Jimmy. It's funny. Now we move along to the next property that you may be familiar with from having staring at it for some time now, maybe. I don't know. It's the Reverend Warham Williams' house.
I want my name on a Victorian house, Mommy.
How much for your name on a Victorian house, Wonka? His successor was the Reverend, who was reputed to be the wealthiest clergyman in the state. That sounds nice and fair, and be equipped with the house with comforts not found in many of the ordinary houses. Look here, I'm the Reverend. This Reverend here looks to be a polarizing figure in my own bright. This is his house, and so there it is. You can come say hi sometime when he's around, but he's not right now. He's out making more money than any other churchman ever in completely legitimate and fair and taxable ways, okay? Wow, look at that corner cabinet. Did I get it right? Thank God. Sure would hate to piss off a Connecticutian about the way I ignored their corner cabinets. Oh man, this might be the first fireplace in all of these surveys ever that doesn't have our two friends. Wow. What do you say about that, guy? You're like, duh. Well, that's the old church, and I already talked about it. See, what? Sorry, I didn't mean to come back here again. What do we got here? What's this? This must be the church's, the good old Reverend's good old church, right? Get out of here, you fucking. This church is, I bet you couldn't guess, it's the Congregational Church of Whitneyville. Just like every church we've ever seen here, it's the very same, with the very same amount of information, which is none. Not even a date of erection. Not even a... Well, it does say built 1830 wood with cupola, and then here at the bottom it says blah, 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 blah. So again, we got the same old suspects. The large weird disc, sorry, strike that, reverse it. The buried basement windows, arrow power on. Basement windows, the truncated, fluted columns, most likely, and the cupola and the useless, of course, ball and spike octagonal thing. And on top of the four-pronged tower, which is here above the three-doored doorway. Any questions? Okay, we've seen this all before. And I'm glad, because it's a repetition that finally pounds it into people's brains that something's going on here. It's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and calm down. I can. And we don't know. We don't know what this one is. We don't know. We gotta move on, dude. They cut it off at the bottom here, dude. They cut the lettering off, dude.
And cut it out. It'll go right back.
Hilton House on the Green. That's the name of it, if you know what I mean. We're definitely gonna delete that. No information about this house, other than it's strikingly beautiful. And that information came from me. Bosra Town Hall, eh? Let's hope there's some juicy gossip that comes with this one, because I'm running out of material. This is the Bosra, however you pronounce that fine city, Town Hall. The original mayor was 20 feet tall, which is why they needed this doorway. No, I made that up. I'm just practicing for my job as the local historian. Or as it's colloquially known as, the maker-shitter-upper. This owner's name is Asa Fitch, and it served various purposes before being acquired by the town, and has been used as a social hall, and at one point as a sericulture plant. For a while, the middle section of the first floor, but only the middle, was used as a firehouse. Oh, I get it, so they got a big... They shared it with the library and also historical events connected with the structure. Well, Bosra was incorporated as a town. I mean, that happened. And there was a mill here and a church here and a mansion here with extensive gardens and stuff. The originator of the place, the director, the overseer, the paymaster of it all, Asa Fitch. He built it all. I heard he did it without even having any hands. Well, he did a great thing here in this building without any hands. I gotta give him that. And this looks to me like a barn, but I reckon people could live there if they wanted to. But I reckon we're about to find out right now. This is Governor Trumbull's war office in Lebanon, Connecticut. That's right, folks. There's a Lebanon in Connecticut, and there's also a Joseph Trumbull in that Lebanon. And this is his doing, all this, and, yeah, we're looking at all angles of this one. Governor Trumbull is not to be taken lightly. Here is a fountain of something. It's not clear. But whatever it is, it's fresh water. Just drink up. Better to regret something you have done than something you haven't done. I don't think that's good advice, actually. You know, it comes with an asterisk, that's for sure. The duality of man. I could be an asshole. I could. I choose not to. You remember that. I could change my mind. This is the Samuel Mather House in Old Lyme, Connecticut. Which French colonial interior here at the Samuel Mather House that you will not see the inside of. Because you only get two pictures. This one of the door and this one of the door, but further back, so you can see these guys, these all important little light down here windows, lights for their little feetsies in their half basement, so practical. Here we got a building. That's right, folks, one after next, just buildings. That's all we got. This is the county courthouse. New London County, that's which one, in case you was asking. Now, there's no record of any architect. The date of erection was about 1780 something. There's a basement in the rear. I mean, there's a basement over here and a basement over there. Very little historical data, if you can believe it, is available on this building, and the information below is taken from an address delivered by Mr. Abel Tanner at the time of the dedication of the addition, September 16th. In 1774, a committee was appointed to provide a new courthouse. Built in 1784 and was located in what was then the head of State Street. For 55 years it remained here, and in 1839 it was moved back a little bit to its present site. So easy just to move back a little house in the 1700s, a house like this big, just move it back a little bit. But anyway, the courts convened on the second floor with a gallery on three sides, and there was a big rock, scissors, paper contest, it looks like. Patrick Henry was here, Daniel Webster defended the Constitution here, it made an event that probably didn't happen. This is important. I'm going on bright. Mayor, did it work? Yeah, it did. Now, what you're looking at there is the old Ebenezer Baldwin House, otherwise known as the Old Baldwin House. The first record of grant of land on which this house stands is dated 1664 and is given to Thomas Baldwin. Later on deeded to Ebenezer. The 1750 seems to be the agreed upon date of its construction. The house is to be moved by Mr. Curtis from Norwich. All chimneys, fireplaces, and plaster have been removed already. So yeah, this bad boy ain't even there no more. So take a look at it while you can, boys, because next time you see it, you won't.
This is Captain Thomas Noyer's house. And again, for the info, we have nothing. Except Old Pequot Trail, built 1705. And, she do got a basement. What she says, got a basement. And these two little dudes.
These little guys.
Close. Well, hello.
What are we doing up here? Where's this picnic basket? Where are you taking me? What is all this rubble? What is all this barn stuff? Would you add this on later? What am I looking at here? Whose staircase is that? Whose fine china? What are you doing with that teapot? Why is it snowing outside already? What month is it where you guys are at? What good is that fireplace? Somebody talk to me.
This is the house in the post office vicinity, we're told. A lot of information, that is. Not is the end of that sentence. The old house opposite the post office. Yeah. Who could forget? You know, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of these are starting to look exactly the same. Therefore, if I'm getting bored, you must be getting. You must be out of your mind. Well, we'll shut her down for now, I suppose. Thanks for the letdown, Connecticut. I mean, I shouldn't be too hard on the old place. I mean, these houses are wonderful. It's just that they don't tell us anything about them. Survey's too early. They're just making a list. They're not really telling us what's going on. You know, we can't glean anything from the backstory if there's no backstory. Just nothing but corner cabinets and amazing steeples. One after the other. And what the happened here? How embarrassing. Tripped and fell down on the day of your big survey, too. Get up, you sissy. Another town hall, eh? Every town with a town hall. Every town hall till you've seen them all. And really gorgeous spreads, really all of them. In remarkably good condition back here in the 30s. Oh my god, don't tell Harry and the Hendersons. He's gonna freak out. The churches here, all the same. The columns, I mean, I feel like I'm looking at the same building over and over and over and over again. And I'm not. There's just this many amazing houses out here. God, wonder how many of them are left. It's like barn and then amazing clapboard house. Many of them sharing so many of the same features. It's just so odd. It's like one of these for every 20 houses. Like it was a generator generating the electricity in the neighborhood or whatever. They got to put one of these every 20 houses or so, and then we just took them over and called them churches. I don't know. You explain it. You explain where these all came from and what's the point of them all. I mean, these towers are just amazing. So unnecessary to build unless they do something. These are all functional, you know, pragmatic. You know, they got flair, sure, but these are all the same. And why? Why the organ? Why the dome? Why all of it? And I think I have a pretty good idea. This is where Hansel and Gretel probably lived. Whoa, Bilbo Baggins. Dude, that's legit. And another one. God, never ending. I think that we have satisfied this portion of the tour well enough. These are beautiful homes, beautiful churches. And I guess really we just established there's a lot of repetition in old Connecticut. I don't know what else to tell you. We'll keep it moving. See you soon.